ladies at concession stand, if you would notice, there are no prices.
This is some of our youth that's going to camp. Actually, we have 38 kids going to camp.
I'm fine.
We got 38 kids going to camp.
Oh, it's fine. It's a $700 paperweight. I've dropped it on concrete several times.
This is John Scott, and I never can
And I've dropped it in water and it's in safe water. It's just a $700 paperweight.
Sergeant. And his better half, Stefan. And then I need you to come up to, yes, I want anybody associated with the youth to come in here too. And you know, these kids have worked selling burritos and burning a little bit of bacon on Sunday mornings for us to eat for donations for this too. So these kids have been working also to try to raise this money to go to camp. But I'm going to turn this over to John Scott. They got some things to say and do. And after that, we might get some wrestlers come out, sign some autographs, and then we'll turn it back up.
Hey, just a quick reminder, be sure we eat up all this food. It's for this event, so don't leave any there, and there are no prices, so just get on it. As it's been said, we're raising money for camp. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Justin Shockley. We're raising money for these kids to go to cowboy camp, and I just want to share a little bit about what cowboy camp looks like. It's a camp that's designed to share Jesus to a different culture of folks. Most of these boys in this group, instead of running from a snake, they're trying to catch it. Instead of getting out of the pen with a bull, they're trying to rope it. And most of these girls, instead of spending their money on or hanging out at the mall, they're hanging out at the mud bar. Instead of spending their money on pedicures or manicures, they're spending it on their holiday show at the county show. So but the beauty of cowboy camp is it says Jesus is available right there where these kids live. That Jesus is the same Jesus in the world that these kids live in. And so camp's designed for them to go be in the mud bog, for them to go rope that bull, for them to just be free and dangerous, just like they live, but that they would know Jesus Christ is there with them every step of the way. And to that, I want to introduce Mr. Tyler. He's going to give you his perspective of camp, tell you a little bit about him. Great story.
But we can turn it up.
Turn it up. That other one's way louder.
Well, give him the other one.
Testing, testing. Hey. Hi. There you go, Tyler.
Thank you, John.
Now what's the gift?
As John said, I'm Tyler Thompson, 15 years old, and last year was my second youth camp, and I got this piece of paper that could help keep me on track. Well, you know, I was raised in a typical church-going family. My dad is a music leader in a lot of places, and right now he's playing in the band here. And my mom has always been very involved, if not the leader of the women's ministry. And I was their son, the one that stayed at home, their Bible-believing, God-raised, stereotype son. But I can tell you right now, we're not what you think we are in the church family. We're a lot like you. We're not really elevated. And first church we went to was Fire Giants, and that's where I had my first encounter with the Lord. I was like 5 years old, and I thought I had an understanding of what Christ did for me. So I went up there and I said that I accepted Jesus. But I didn't really understand. I didn't really get the gist of it. So couple of years passed, and when I was 7 or 8 years old, I finally accepted Jesus as my personal Savior. And ever since then, I've been growing in the Lord, and I just love it. And as I said, last year's camp was, it was my second camp, but I can tell you, it was the best. It was in Newton, Texas, was it? Yeah, Newton, Texas, out east. Little town. I didn't even know where it was. So, I mean, we had so much fun. We rode ponies. We sacked a couple pigs. Rode cows. Everything. We went kayaking and traveling. And, I mean, that was, and picking up an occasional chicken or two. So, yeah, Rob sat there. But, you know, it was fun, but I'm going to tell you, last night, the name of the event describes it. His name was Mayhem. Everyone who went to camp knows what I'm talking about. Okay. There was 13, I believe, different events scattered around the camp you were directed to. I mean, the events themselves were fun. I mean, we got fruit launched at us. Brett, looking at you. We got dragged through muddy water and a kiddie pool. We picked up a baby pig and put it in a bag and carried it. And we had this cool inflatable tube that was like a tire. And someone got in it, and they rolled over a line of kids. And when this one went, I was smart enough to get out of the line. And he did cheat. Okay, and you know, the last night was also the best night for me, and I think a lot of people as well. Because before we did the mayhem, we had our last gathering. And, I mean, you had to be there to know what I was talking about. The Spirit of God was just so powerful. I mean, you couldn't have been there and not felt something. And we had fun, we got hurt, had some laughs, but what really mattered was our connection with God that was being built that week. You know, it was there. I mean, it was so undeniably real that a lot of us burst into tears, and I admit I cried like a baby that night. Because I'm looking at this.
That's my oldest.
Thanks, Steve.
You can take her home with you.
Alright, and, you know, I told my youth leader, John Scott, that, you know, even though I was raised in church, I put on the church mask just like everyone else. I mean, I came to church, I knew the words to say, but at home, I didn't really act like I was saved. You know? I talked back to my parents. I still have a problem with that. They'll tell you. And I was just, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, but I wasn't really full on living my life with Christ. But I rededicated my life to Christ that night. And I walked away feeling like a wall of bricks was just lifted off my shoulders. I felt like I was floating, which is good considering what we did later. And that was my story. And I hope to have someone there at camp who hasn't gone before to have the same one.
Yeah, I just want to recognize Tyler. That's real for him, and that's his story. But it takes boldness to stand up here and tell it. And I'm just so thankful the Lord's raising up young, bold men like Tyler. And we just very blessed at the time. So, but Mr. Tim, wherever you is, who is, that's how we say in Cowboy Church, you is.
I got Papa.
Well, give these guys a hand. And I expect that God's going to do a work with them when they go to camp. You know, I'll be 48 years old this year. When I was 19 years old, I went outside to work on a car. And it was a Tuesday afternoon because my wife at the time, thank God, things changed. But anyway, she liked to watch soap operas. And so her favorite soap was on. And I said, could you come outside and hand me my tools? Well, again, I talk to everybody, as everybody knows in this church. I do wave at everybody or talk to everybody because I don't meet a stranger. I waved at the guy across the street. I crawled under this car, started working on it. I pulled the drive shaft and the car fell. And it fell on me. It was a little sports car and it had the seats that sunk down and it landed on my arm and the elbow was holding the car off of me. She said, what do I do? I said, get the man across the street. I just yelled at him. So he comes over there and they couldn't get the jack up. So she runs down the road. This is Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Every man on that street was home. A man ran up there and grabbed the car and picked it up off my chest. I crawled out and I stood up. The ambulance driver showed up. He said, he's looking underneath the car like, where is he? I said, I'm over here. So I called the person that always prayed for me, and that was my mother. And I said, was you praying for me today? She said, well, not today. I always pray for you, but not today. Well, she called my granddad down in Greenville. My granddad got up that morning praying for somebody, didn't know who it was. At 1:30, when I crawled out under the car, he quit praying. Then later on in life, you know, we go through things, and some of us hit the bottle or beer or whatever. I drink a lot of beer. I drink a case a day or maybe more. Thought I was invincible. And I missed a wall doing 75 about 2 inches. And it still didn't scare me. And I had somebody tell me that day that you won't live to be 26 years old. Well, July I'll be 48. And that means God ain't through with me yet. God's always had his hands on me, even though when I wasn't where I was supposed to be. And when I walked into this church right here, I got a touch in my heart that I hadn't had in a long time. They preach the word that if you ain't got a Bible, you're going to get a Bible before you leave. And he don't just tell you what's in the Bible, he lets you read it with him. And the ministry and the music, the guys are like, I mean, some of them sing songs that my mom and dad sang with me. Then they sang songs that's like, oh wow. And then I got invited to join the band, and I get a blessing every Sunday morning when I'm playing for God. Well, we're going to let these young men and women out of the ring, and we're going to have some of the wrestlers come out and sign some autographs, and then we'll get back up. Well, we thank y'all.